The art of mindful cooking focuses your attention on the sights, sounds, smells, and textures of your cooking, whether you're chopping, whipping, or kneading. Being mindful in the kitchen gives you clarity and helps keep you calm. And with that in mind, we're making a beautiful pork belly bao with a papaya slaw. So in front of me, I have a lovely piece of pork belly from St. Bernard's. It's free range and it's a beautiful Australian product. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to place it on a baking tray. And what I've done with this pork is I've actually placed it in the fridge overnight, and that basically dries the skin out and gives it that beautiful crispy crackling that we're looking for. So pop that on, skin side down. Got some 5 spice here. So 5 spice basically is a blend of cloves, fennel, cinnamon, star anise, and citron pepper. So liberally all over the flesh side. You want to get right in there, and can't wait for the sounds of the crackling. Awesome. Now, to get that extra crunchy top and skin, just going to add some olive oil all over the top, and you just want to get in with your hands, rub it down. And what this does is it also helps the salt stick onto the skin a lot better. I've got here Murray River salt flakes. Now it's got a pink hue because of its naturally occurring mineralized brine. And this salt is actually so good for you because it's high in magnesium and calcium. Now, it looks like I'm adding a lot on, but you actually need it to cover the whole skin to get that really crispy, crunchy crackling. And this basically helps draw all that excess moisture that's in the skin. All right, so now I'm just gonna pat it down, make sure that it sticks to the skin, just gently, and add some water just to get it steaming. Speeds up the cooking process slightly. You don't need too much. Beautiful, so this pork belly just needs to go into the oven at 180 degrees for about 40 to 45 minutes. There we go. Look at that, how good does that look? Now with a brush, I'm just going to lightly brush it off, and it should just come off quite easily. This is what I mean when I was saying that it's not gonna be really salty, because you actually get all the salt off, and you can see how dry it is, so that's gonna puff up really beautifully. Perfect, now that's all off. I'm just gonna move this to one side because I'm gonna pop it onto another tray. You don't want any liquid when you're doing the second part of the roasting. Just add a little bit of baking paper onto the bottom. I'm just gonna lift the pork up and then pop it onto this one. Now, this just goes back into the oven at 200 degrees for about 30 to 40 minutes until the skin puffs up and you get that crispy, crunchy crackling now. That just sounds like music to my ears. Sight, smell, hearing, taste, and touch. Try practicing mindfulness in the kitchen by focusing on all 5 senses. It's one small change that you can make to feel more grounded and centered. Now my pork's nearly done. I've got my bao buns in my steamer basket steaming. So I'm gonna make a crunchy slaw and a quick and simple sticky glaze. So for that, I've got a beautiful papaya right in front of me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cut this in half because it's quite large. And I'm just gonna slice it thinly on a mandolin. So just really thin strips. Beautiful. Stack it all up together, and we're gonna thinly slice it. You can hear that beautiful crunch when you're cutting through it. I'm getting really excited and actually really hungry. So that's it. Really nice, really fresh, really bright. Now to the slaw, I'm going to add in some carrots. And this just adds a bit of crunch, a little bit of color. I'm gonna add in some red onions that I've thinly sliced, and a little bit of chili for some heat. Just thinly slice it. Adds a bit of color to the dish as well, which is always beautiful. Pop that in. Great. Let's give that a quick toss. And now I'm just going to season it with some salt, liberally. And I'm gonna make a sticky glaze that will go with it. Now this is a really quick and simple one. Just in a bowl, I've got some ketchup mayonnaise, just a little bit of soy, it's a light soy, just a touch. Use a spatula, mix that through, and then I'm going to squeeze in the juice of 1 lime. Let's cut that in half, squeeze in. Beautiful. So it's all about that balance when you're cooking. The sweetness, the saltiness, the sourness. You want to get that perfect balance right because what you taste and what you can see is really important. So that's great. I've got the glaze ready. Now the bao buns can come out and we will be ready to plate. Look at that beautiful golden skin. There's one way to test it, and it's by listening. That sounds good to me. Ooh, it's a little bit hot. Okay, and now we're just going to cut it into smaller pieces to fit into our bao. Oh, listen to that. Now look at that. Crispy on the outside and juicy in the middle. That's beautiful. So let's cut it into smaller pieces. And now I'm just going to dip it into my sticky glaze. Let's give that a quick stir. That's just gonna flavor the pork a little bit more. Beautiful, look at that glaze. Nice and sticky. That'll be a perfect balance, saltiness and sweet. And I'm gonna add in some spring onions and a cucumber, just for a little bit more freshness. Cut them into battens and then slice them slightly smaller into strips, like you would in a Peking duck, for example. Lots of textures in this dish. Now, the baos should be ready. Amazing. Turn the heat off. Grab them out with a pair of tongs because they're quite hot. Open them up. They're perfect. They took about 10 to 15 minutes straight from the freezer. I like a bit of carrot, a bit of papaya, a little bit of onions as well, just to give it a bit of balance, and some chilies right there. Cucumber, a piece of spring onion, and that beautiful glistening pork right in the middle. Delicious. Put that there. Gorgeous. So, you know, when you're making this at home, just listen and look and smell and use all of your senses when you're tasting this dish. Last one. There we go. Now, this is my crispy, crunchy pork belly bao with a papaya slaw. Delicious.